Well, the Micah Parsons thing always felt like, and I think maybe to most fans, just like you're being dragged along unwillingly to this conclusion where Jerry Jones does the thing where he uses this supposed drama to talk about how actually drama is really good. I'm good at this. And then does the seemingly inevitable, which is pay Micah Parsons top dollar, and then we can all say, well, you could have got him a lot cheaper a year ago or whatever. But instead, he really is being traded to Green Bay. And there is a contract in place, 4 years, $188 million, up to, it's going to have to be. I looked 3 times to see if it really said Adam Schefter. Schefter did unfortunately call Parsons Micah Packers. And there's the jersey right there. He's, of course, wearing Green Bay jersey. We can't not have that in the world. We've got to actually pretend that he's already played a game for the Packers. Micah Packers. Rappaport called him Micah Parsons. Once I saw that, I knew it had to be right, because you get one fake insider at a time. When there's big news, they all have it simultaneously. So there it is. Chris Trapasso on the West Her Hotline. Can you believe it?
I cannot. I mean, how you just set that scene, that's exactly what I thought was going to happen. I thought there was from Lindsay Rhodes, who's part of Sumer Sports now, used to be on NFL Network. She tweeted last night that she thought, oh, this is going to be Jerry Jones signing Micah Parsons on the day of the Eagles game to take some of the shine away from the Eagles getting that first game of the regular season after winning the Super Bowl. That's what seemed most likely. They signed Dak Prescott right before the season. They signed CeeDee Lamb same way. Trevon Diggs a couple years ago as well. So this was one that seemed maybe the most obvious that they should have re-signed this player, and they ultimately didn't. We still don't know what the trade compensation, and we'll probably get that during this interview. It's probably going to be a doozy. It's probably going to be multiple firsts and then some. But you're right. I thought this was going to just be, yeah, all right, they're going to ultimately sign him. Why were we so concerned? But now we have a huge power shift, I think, in the NFC.
Everything like this that happens, or not like this, but just like moves, I'll end up coming to the realization or making the point that, well, this isn't going to move the betting markets. This will. I mean, this will move the betting markets. This will work for Green Bay. And I don't know, Chris, Dallas had some shine to it with Prescott and George Pickens being there now, and maybe, again, the assumption that Parsons would get done. But, damn, I mean, now he's gone. Maybe they'll get a player back in this. We don't know yet, like you said.
That's true. That's true.
Still, though, I mean, they open the season in Philadelphia next week, and his absence will be maybe the biggest talking point of the night.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a strong case. I know it's the Cowboys and the playoff failures are always going to stick out more than anything else with that organization. But there's a case that, like, Micah Parsons, the last 4 years since he's been in the NFL, has been, like, the most consistent 3-down outside pass rusher in the NFL. I don't think it's slam dunk that he's definitely better than Myles Garrett or T.J. Watt, but he is absolutely in that conversation. He's dealt with some nagging injuries here and there, but he's mostly been very durable. He's awesome against the run, and he's just prolifically efficient as a pass rusher. So they lose DeMarcus Lawrence, who is kind of on his way down, but still a quality player, and Micah Parsons from their pass rush. I don't really know who's getting after the passer in Dallas on what has not been that good of a defense over the last couple of years.
What about Green Bay in this then? I mean, for now, we don't know if they're giving up any players, and are there any players that really would move the needle here? Ian Rappaport says at least 2 firsts are going to the Cowboys in this trade. Wow. What's your analysis of the Packers, the effect on Green Bay?
This is such a big need for them that this defense in Green Bay has kind of held it together the last couple of years, but it's really been Rashawn Gary, who's kind of like a sneaky elite outside pass rusher and no one else. They drafted Lucas Van Ness out of Iowa a few years ago. He's kind of like, I mean, to use a Bills comparison, he's kind of like an AJ Epinesa type, that he was an oversized edge rusher or an undersized defensive tackle, and he really has not played up to that first-round status. He's kind of okay on the inside, but not great as an edge rusher, so they desperately have needed someone else to buoy that pass rush outside of Rashawn Gary. The secondary has not really been that great because I think the lack of a pass rush. They lose Jair Alexander to the Ravens. So I think that was a huge need, and is obviously probably why the Packers were willing to send multiple firsts and then some, and then still pay 26-year-old Micah Parsons this huge contract. So it definitely, for a team that has so many young pieces, has been to the playoffs in multiple seasons. 2 years ago, very close to the NFC title game. Last year, not quite as good after the Jordan Love injury. But yes, this definitely moves the needle for, I still think, one of the best contenders in the NFC.
I was just talking earlier today about the Packers and thinking about their offense and their style of offense. Like, it's pretty conservative. And like, come on, Green Bay, like, get in it to win it. You've got Love
Exactly.
here. You're paying them. Like, come on, let's just pick the pace up a little bit. They don't do it They don't do it my way or the way I was thinking earlier, but they do it in this more shocking and awesome way. 2 quick points. Reportedly, money-wise, Chris, he comes in well above Myles Garrett in every category, so he wins. And also, Week 4, Sunday night, is Green Bay at Dallas.
Wow, that's going to set ratings records. The Cowboys, even when the Cowboys are not good, they're kind of like that entity where when they're bad, people want to see them struggle, and then when they are kind of good, they're kind of that hated team out. If you're not in the Dallas area, and they have a huge fan base nationwide. That one, so it doesn't matter. Like, Cowboys games draw, like that's why all those years it was always Week 1 Sunday Night Football seemed like it was Cowboys-Eagles or Cowboys-Giants, just because the ratings were a guarantee. That one, especially with the Packers organization in this trade, will probably be up there with like Bills-Chiefs last season, if not higher, in terms of just overall nationwide ratings.
I was talking to Sal yesterday, and Ravens-Bills ought to do pretty well. NBC sent out all kinds of stats about their history, Sunday Night Football, and the second highest game they've ever had in their series is last year's opener, Baltimore-Kansas City. I would think, and the Ravens and the Bills thing is pretty well established at this point, and they have such common narratives, obviously, with what's happened in the last 5 years in the AFC. But the intrigue of the 2 quarterbacks and the 2 contenders that they are, I think it's a great opening night or Sunday night for Week 1.
It's perfect. I mean, like I was just saying, that Sunday night in Week 1, I mean, there's so many marquee games now, and there's the Brazil game, all that. But that used to be like kind of the marquee game before they started to do the Super Bowl champion getting to host that Thursday game to start the season. And I think you can also obviously throw in the fact of like how much of a surprise it was for Josh Allen to win the MVP after Lamar Jackson was the first team All-Pro quarterback and Josh Allen was second team. So yeah, like I think that game will be up there with that Packers Cowboys in terms of like most highest rated games. Whether you're looking at CBS, NBC, whatever it is, there's so many networks today. That one will, I don't know if it'll break records, but it will be a contender because there's just so many great storylines for 2 teams that have been as good on a 7 to 8 year basis as every team in the AFC outside of the Chiefs.
Well, Chris, of course, we talked a lot pre-draft, as we have done for a few years here, about not only just possibilities for the Bills at their pick, but many of the top rookies. I'll just ask this in a broad sense, and you can take it where you want. As the season is about to start, and you and I, and for different reasons, are monitoring all the rookies, at least in my case, the skill position guys. How did we do? I do want to let you run with that, but I'll just give you one thought that I have, in fantasy context at least, is I think we might get paid off on the running backs this year. All the running backs we liked that, many went into day 3, but it seems like there's some real potential for several of the rookie running backs to hit.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to say specifically this early, but I think you're right. I mean, I was even watching, I don't know why I was watching this, but like the last Bengals preseason game with Taj Brooks, looks like someone that could ultimately be like him, and Chase Brown can be these 6th rounders that, again, that we talked about at pre-draft, that we're in this running back renaissance, Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, but I still think what the Bengals are doing offensively to not pay running backs and just draft high-quality athletes that were productive in college in the 5th and 6th round could ultimately pay off. Bashal Tutin, I think, is going to be a lot of fun in Jacksonville, and it'll be sooner rather than later, which would be just poetic justice for me that literally owns a shirt that says, do not draft running backs in the first round, that he overtakes Travis Etienne and is ultimately him and Tank Bigsby are the two guys there in Jacksonville that are really shouldering the load in that backfield. So I can't, I mean, if you want to like run through any of the other wide receivers or tight ends or running backs that like instantly come to mind, we can talk about them. But I think those two just popped into my head that I think had really good apparently training camps and into the preseason.
Another of the bigger names among those types would be Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt in Washington.
Forgot about him.
Who may end up being their starter. They still have Austin Eckler. They'll use Chris Rodriguez, but he's somebody that maybe the last time we talked which was after the draft, his name came up. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, he's someone that is such an interesting case because he was insanely productive 2 years ago at New Mexico, transfers to Arizona, and was like ruled ineligible for some weird sanction, like not academically, not because he did something off the field, something with like the number that he was wearing. I don't know. I've seen different things, but pre-draft, I mean, to jump 41.5 inches, to be NFL caliber size, and in the one game that he played at Arizona last year, he averaged over 8 yards per carry. So he looked, from his New Mexico film to his one game at Arizona and the pre-draft workout, like someone that you should probably draft in the 4th or the 5th round if we're just, again, pushing down the value at running back. Washington gets him in the 7th, and I'll say hats off to their relatively new GM, Adam Peters, for like not going into a summer even and really worrying about when a guy was picked. And, hey, Brian Robinson, yes, past regime, that probably didn't help him. It was probably part of the reason that he was traded to San Francisco. But Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt apparently just looked the part right away, even though he was a 7th rounder. So he's someone that I'm sure you've drafted already and will be one of those late-round fantasy running backs that I think will pay off for a lot of people out there, where maybe this is the year. I mean, I don't have anything personally against running backs, but maybe this could be the year where rookies, second-year, even third-year guys, we start to see, like the Tyrone Tracy's and the Chase Browns of the world, that you truly can get quality players. Maybe Ray Davis is one of these guys as a former day 3 pick, that you can, if you have a good offensive line and a good offensive play caller, you can get quality production from that position without paying them enormous amounts of money.
Did you watch Ashton Genty at all? Like the first game, he might have gone like 3 for -1. Yeah. And people were joking about that. But I saw a couple of nice runs from him against the Niners in what would have been, I think, their second game. How does it sound for you with Genty and the Raiders so far?
Yeah, I think the third game, too, was similar to the first. Like, there was no holes. Okay. Like, when he was on the field, they were clear run blitzes. And he was either had minus yards or barely had any. But it was more so just because of the lack of holes. The one thing, I mean, yes, against the 49ers, he looked like Ashton Genty that we saw the last 2 seasons at Boise State. The one thing that in watching, and I think this was kind of out there on Twitter as well, it's not just from me, like he looked like running angrier than normal, like he was seeking out contact. And he's small, like he's 5'8", 5'9", certainly very chiseled, has a low center of gravity, over 200 pounds. But he can't take a beating like that, like he's Derrick Henry and he's 6'3", 250. So that was just the one minor concern. I mean, I absolutely loved him as a prospect. I thought he was, had the best contact balance of any running back that I've ever scouted. But I'm just hoping, for the sake of probably your fantasy teams or all their fantasy teams out there, and Genty himself, that he quickly learns, like, when he sees a linebacker, he should try to use his speed and his agility before just trying to run those players over in the NFL.
Good point. The latest report on this Micah Parsons trade, Parsons to Green Bay, really, and just a record-breaking contract, tons of guaranteed money. Dallas gets 2 firsts and defensive lineman Kenny Clark, who is 29. You have an opinion of him? I don't. People don't seem to like it.
He is one of the better nose tackles in the NFL. But I think that kind of speaks to the value of that position, that he's been good for a long time. Are you getting 50, 60, 70 pressures and 8 to 12 sacks out of him? I mean, maybe he's reached some of those plateaus at some point in his career, but at 29, I don't know if that's necessarily the case. And it's even an indictment. I'm just thinking about the draft right away. In getting him back to Dallas in the trade, It's an indictment on the Cowboys missing on Mozzie Smith in the same draft where the Bills picked Dalton Kincaid. Remember, that was kind of the thought that they really wanted Kincaid. The Bills leapfrogged them, and then they picked this Michigan nose tackle, Mozzie Smith, who's still on the team 2 years or 3 years later, but has really done absolutely nothing. He's not even a good run defender. So it's kind of like they're patching that draft miss by adding him to this trade. Overall, it's just very strange, but maybe on brand for Jerry Jones at this point.
Yeah.